Difference between atom and ion. Atom. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that cannot exist in free state and is electrically neutral, while an ion is formed from an atom or chemically bonded group of atoms. By adding or removing electron, it is a charged species. Atom is the smallest particle and it is electrically neutral, while ion is formed from these atoms and now it is having charge, whether positive or negative. Atom carries no charge, it is neutral, while ion has positive or negative charge. If the charge is positive, it will be termed as cation. With negative charge, it will be termed as anion. For example, carbon atom represented as C, while atom of oxygen represented as O. Anion, chloride ion and oxide ion. Now we can see in the figure the formation of a positive ion, sodium ion, from sodium atom. Looking into the structure of sodium atom, we see there are 3 shells with electrons in them. The outermost shell of sodium has just 1 electron, and this outermost shell for any atom is called its valence shell. Now electrons, whether they are absorbed by an atom or they are given out, they are lost, will be from the valence shell. There is just 1 electron in the valence shell of sodium. It will be lost, it will be given out, thrown out, and sodium atom will be changing into sodium ion now. Now we can see in the structure of sodium ion that the last shell of sodium is removed because it had just 1 electron and which is lost. So sodium is changed to sodium ion by losing that only electron from the valence shell. Difference between molecular ion and free radical. How a molecular ion is different from free radical. Molecular ion, clear from its name that it is an ion, so will be carrying a charge, and it is formed from molecules when they gain or lose electrons. While free radical is an atom with odd number of electrons and it bears no electrical charge. Molecular ion is represented by positive or negative sign on the symbol of molecules, while free radical is represented by a dot on the symbol of atoms. For example, oxygen molecule, when gains one electron, it forms oxygen molecular ion, that is O2 -1. And example of free radical is chloride ion. Chlorine with 7 electrons. The 7th electron is odd, unpaired, making it free radical. We can see it here, a free radical with an odd unpaired electron, while an atom with complete paired electrons is more stable than free radical. Difference between ion and free radical. Ion. It is formed from an atom or chemically bonded group of atoms by adding or removing electrons, and it's a charged species, while free radical has odd number of electrons and it is simply an atom. Ion has positive or negative charge. Free radical carries no charge. The ions, for example, chloride ion and oxide ion. An example for a free radical is chloride ion here. Now, a very important question: why an ion acquires net negative or net positive charge? As we know that an atom has equal number of protons and electrons in it. That's why its positive charges of protons and negative charges of electrons are equal to each other and they cancel each other, making the atom neutral. While after adding or removing electron from that particular atom disturbs this balance of positive and negative charges, and as a result the new species gets a charge. For example, we can clarify this concept by taking the following example of formation of chloride ion from chlorine atom. Chlorine atom with atomic number 17 has 17 protons inside the nucleus, and as we know that number of protons is always equal to number of electrons, so electrons will also be 17 in it. Now protons carry positive charge, so there will be 17 positive charges in the nucleus of chlorine atom, and electrons which are revolving around the nucleus carry negative charge, so the negative charge around the nucleus will be negative 17. Now this positive 17 and negative 17 will cancel each other, and overall charge, the net charge on chlorine atom will be 0. So it justifies why chlorine is a neutral atom. Coming to chlorine. While looking at chloride ion, which is formed from chlorine atom, when it absorbs, it gains 1 electron in its valence shell. The protons inside it will remain 17 as they are in chlorine atom. Now coming to electrons, as it has gained 1 electron and it changed to chloride ion, so now the number of electrons will be 18. Due to 17 protons, the positive charge inside the nucleus will be positive 17 and negative charges around the nucleus in the form of electrons will be negative 18. And taking their algebraic sum, it will be negative 1. So overall charge or the net charge on chloride ion will be negative 1. Now it's the time for self-assessment of the topics covered so far. This self-assessment has 3 questions. I am going to explain question number 3 for you here. Question 1 and question 2 is for your self-test. You people will solve it and test your understanding. Question says, why sulfide ion, it's S negative 2, carries negative 2 charge? Coming to solution. Sulfur atom gains 2 electrons in its valence shell, the outermost shell, and forms negative 2 charge, S negative 2 sulfide ion. For description, we must know the atomic number of sulfur, that is 16. So it is represented as S16. Due to 16 atomic number, the number of protons in it will be 16. Corresponding to number of protons, the number of electrons will also be 16, as these two species are always equal in an atom. While in sulfide ion, the number of protons will be 16, while number of electrons in it will be 18, as sulfur has gained 2 electrons in it. So number of electrons changed from 16 to 18. Now calculating the net charge on sulfur atom. We are going to take the algebraic sum of charges of protons and charge of electrons. Due to 16 protons, the positive charges will be plus positive 16, and due to 16 electrons, the negative charges will be negative 16. So taking algebraic sum it will become 0. On the other hand, the net charge on sulfide ion will be calculated by the same formula. Putting the values, due to 16 proton, the positive charges will be positive 16. And as there are 18 electrons, so the negative charges will be negative 18. Now taking the algebraic sum, we know that positive plus and minus will make minus. So we are going to subtract 16 from 18. It will become 2, and considering the algebraic rule, the sign will be taken from the greater value. So greater value is 18. So the sign with 2 will be negative, minus 2, due to greater number 18.